Hey everybody, it's Eddie J on Crypto for GrowMyBag.tv. Hope you're having a good one. What's good? What's good? What's good? Rick Ritchie, I am sorry that you feel that way, but thank you for letting me know that you have indeed invested in yourself. You got played by the dip. I mentioned over the past couple of days that yes, I might be in the black, but I'm not as much in the black now as I once was. And that's because the dip has hit us and hit us hard. Now, that said, I've been using a strategy to kind of offset everything that's going on with that dip. What have I been doing? Well, I've been playing the volatility. I chose a couple of assets that would have good volatility or demonstrated good volatility. Sorry, my hands are dry. And I started playing with those. One such one today was Aster. I snatched up some more Aster at, I think, like 90 cents. It had taken a dive below 90, and now it's at like 97, 98. So if I cashed out now, I'm close to a 10% rise. And then I would wait for another dip and then cash out again. I think the idea for me is Bitcoin took a hit and it dipped below $100,000. If you didn't know, now you know. And it was something that I was paying attention to. And it made sense to me. Like, why not pay attention to everything that's going on? I had gotten out of Bitcoin a while ago because I figured out that it wasn't going to give me the gains that other things were going to give me. Or my thought process was that it wouldn't do so. And I've been right thus far. There are certain stocks that I've been interested in that I've played with. I'm also paying attention to a couple of people that are saying, hey, look, listen, I think eventually that they were like, eventually Palantir is going to take a hit. It did. NVIDIA is going to take a hit. It hasn't yet, but I think it will. But Jensen's doing a lot of different things. He's trying to play both ends, right? He's trying to say, let's do the big data center. Let's do the small, in-home, small office, medium-sized office products. And we can make this work. So I have been paying attention. There are a lot of people that are saying that the stock market's going to take a hit. So Rick Ritchie, to your point that crypto's taking a hit, well, there are people saying the stock market's going to take a hit. They're saying the stock market's going to take, the S&P at least, Fundstrat says that it's going to take a hit. It'll rise again by the end of November, or early December, but it's still going to take a hit and then have to come back from that. So am I waiting? Or am I just going to ride it out? Well, my HODL wallets, those are just sitting there riding it out. And I'll sprinkle, do my DCA thing over there. For my crypto wallets that are for trading, I'm trading. Why? Because I'm going to make some money. Right? I'm going to make some money. I'm going in and I'm trying to identify, can I make 10 to 20% real quick? And I'm trying to do all of that before the real takeoff. And I think the real takeoff happens as soon as the government goes back to work. I think that's going to be a pop-up. And then you're going to see ETFs come. That'll be another pop-up. So there'll be wind underneath the wings by the time, ETFs come along. I can see that. Do I expect bad news in the future? Yeah. I absolutely do. Do I think that there could be a December cut? Yes, I think there will be. I don't agree with it, but I think there will be. See the problem there? So yeah, I get you, man. It's a roller coaster and you've got to have the guts. If you feel that you got to get out of it, I totally understand. I absolutely understand. There are a lot of people in that boat that are thinking the same thing. Right? You got to do your own research. You got to know your entries and exits, and you must absolutely invest deliberately. For me personally, I've been in this game for a really long time. So what I'm trying to do is not get shook. not get shaken up by, you know, a turn of events, whether it be up or down. Whether it be up or down. I know for a fact that at some point I'm going to take a huge bulk of my earnings and I'm going to put it into Bitcoin. Why? Again, Bitcoin is going to be treated differently than everything else. And it looks like Ethereum might be treated differently than everybody else as well. It might move into that Bitcoin bucket. Seems like that's where it's going. Whereas I think there are going to be a lot of banks that are going to offer services or loans to those holding, you know, Bitcoin and or Ethereum. So there's a lot to pay attention to. Most D. But like I said, if there are people out there that feel like, you know, they don't have the stomach for this, I can understand if you got to get out. I will say this though. If you don't have the stomach for it, why get out now? Do you think it's going to go lower? Do you need the money back right now? Because taking the money back right, if you don't need the money back right now, I would do math on that. I'd sit back and kind of go, if I don't need it right now, why would I get out now and actually realize the loss? It's because you're losing a certain amount of value right now, but you still have that number of assets. And so if they go back up, if I'm going to get out of something, I try not to get out until I'm at break even. You want to know which coin did that to me the last time? Hedera. That's when I learned the lesson. I was like, yeah, I'm going to take a chance on this. I hadn't put in a lot of money, so I just let it ride. I just said, you know what? I'm down so much right now, I'm just going to let it ride. And what happened? Not only did it come back, but it's in the black for me. So sometimes waiting, if you have the time, figure out using your own risk framework, could that work for you? Right? So things happen. I totally get it. D Mac in his house. Thank you for letting me know you invest in yourself. Something else I did to invest in myself. I voted today. You want to know why? Because I want to keep my right and my voice. So I voted today. So yeah. $150 billion of the DeFi sector experienced severe security crises in 2025. $150 billion. Okay. With over $500 million stolen, including 1.5 billion. Well, those numbers are wrong, but $1.5 billion was stolen from Bybit. You had Aave had to handle a vulnerability. So yeah, the DeFi space is definitely not one for the weary. Definitely not one for the weary. But I like Aave. Yes, I have a bag of Aave. Something else I wanted to mention. The more risk you take, the stronger your gut or your stomach has to be. If you're taking all these big risks on these coins because you think they're going to X so much, you had better have intestinal fortitude of like the Superman or Incredible Hulk level. You know what I mean? Because you're going to feel it at that point. Because I don't know that there is a coin out there right now that is going to 100x. Even 10x is a lot for some of these coins. Most of those coins. Because the ones that you're thinking that are going to, you know, that 100x mentality is the meme coin mentality. It's the NFT mentality. It's stuff like that. And so when I sit back and I look at all of this stuff, I consider all of that. I don't hold a lot of meme coins. And what did I tell you I'm interested in? I told you I'm interested in coins that have a valid use case. If they don't have a valid use case, there's absolutely no reason for me to get involved with it at all. Tonight's question, because I didn't say it, is did you play the dip today? Yes or no? There is no other. It's yes or no. It's a really easy yes or no question, and inquiring minds want to know. For me, yeah, I played the dip today. I bought Chainlink the way I said I was going to buy Chainlink. I'm down right now because I snatched up Chainlink at like $15. I snatched up Chainlink at $15. It's at 14 and change right now. I'm fine with that because I'm up almost 10% with my Aster purchase. I'm all right with that. Everything else is just normal sprinkle, sprinkle. That's right. Sprinkle, sprinkle, baby. I continue my DCA, especially in times like this. Did I pull dry powder to DCA? No. Not at all. Not at all. My dry powder is still my dry powder. Your dry powder is meant to sit there and be ready for whatever. Ready for whatever. Yeah, H-bar was on the menu, but it wasn't on my menu. Not this time. Because I know I want to get in and get out. And Aster is showing me the volatility where I'm going to be able to get in and get out. So throughout the night, I'll be paying attention to Aster. And if I hit like 10%, you know what I mean? If I hit like 10%, I'm going to be out. Because I think it has at least one more dip before it goes up. So I'd be out. I'd take my 10% and be like, yeah, next. Just saying. Just saying. I'm not being greedy. I am not being greedy. If you can take 10%, if you could take $1,000, even, you know what? Call it $100. Okay, call it $100. If you could take $100 and throughout the year, you can make some 10% moves. 10%. Do the math. That doesn't mean that you're going to walk away with $200. It means you walk away with more than that because it's 10% each time you do it. So if you're using the full load, 10% turns into 110, right? And you keep going from there. So when I look at it, I'm kind of like 110, 121, and you just keep building from there. And if you could do that 10 times throughout the year, you're going to more than double your money. And if you do a turnaround and you look back, I'm willing to bet in your head, you called something 10 times. That's not to say that you get in and you make 20%, like I did with Aster the other day. I made over 20%. And then I got out. And the second I got out, literally the second I got out, it plummeted below $1 to, I think I saw it again at 83 cents, 86 cents, something like that. And I caught it at 90. It's at 98 cents, I think, right now. Real close to that 10%. Real close to that 10%. If I can do that 10 times out of the year, averaging 10%, I can make a couple of bucks. I can double that particular amount of money. And what I do for that is I try to pay attention to those that will give me the volatility. Because maybe the volatility has worn out on this one and there's another one that's got volatility to it. I'll hop on that one. Maybe this one's got volatility to it. I'll hop on that one. But I'm doing a lot of math. I'm doing a lot of math. Notice how math is very close to meth. Just saying. No, I don't do math. But I just thought it was funny. But I do a lot of math to figure out who's doing what, what's doing what. I do a lot of research on the coins. I do a lot of stuff to figure that stuff out. Not playing any games. H-bar would have given you volatility this year. Doge would have given you that volatility this year by themselves. Buy 10%, buy 10%, buy. They were each doing that. Cardano did it a lot. What's Cardano at right now? Let me take a look at that. There it is. Cardano's at 51 cents. It dropped from 54 cents that I last looked at it yesterday. So imagine You can catch Cardano at 50 cents. I might could play Cardano. I might could play some Cardano right now and be happy about it. And some people are sitting there going, why? Well, because Cardano getting to 65, 75 cents, I think is easy. I'm not talking about touching my HODL wallets. I'm talking about touching my trading wallets. Yes, I keep them separately. I keep them separate. I don't think about those. That's like investing in mutual funds. You learn as a young person, you invest in mutual funds, you sprinkle DCA into that, and you don't think about it until you're, getting, you start thinking about it like 15, 10, 5 years out of retirement. You start thinking about that. That's how I do that. I don't think about it. I don't think about how much there is. I don't think about any of that. I just sprinkle. I just sprinkle. Think about this. If it just keeps up with inflation, I'm in a better place, am I not? If it just keeps up with inflation, I'm in a better place. Now, most of the time it does better than inflation, so I'm fine. But my point is, if it does at least inflation, by the time you pull that money out, you've got current money level. That's one of the biggest issues that people are facing right now. Which brings me to my other point. If you need money in the future, believe me when I tell you, you're going to have to invest, not save. I firmly believe that we're going to have to invest just to survive. And people think I'm playing, but when you look at inflation, the price of goods, all that, I firmly believe that we're going to have to invest just to survive. That's going to be a problem for people. So everything went down. No, that's one of the factors. That's one of the factors, Futanic. And did you invest in yourself today? So yeah, when I look at things, I really look at things as normally sometimes there's one thing, sometimes there's a conglomeration of things. This time we're looking at a conglomeration of things. So Hutanic's talking about, the DXY or dollar went to 101 synthetically by rolling its own debt, making bonds look good with lipstick. I don't even know what that means. You're trying to roll in facts with jokes. That doesn't work. But the dollar is not doing all that great. Inflation is up. Cost of things are projected to go up even higher. People are going to be without food. So economically, we're not doing so hot. I told you yesterday that China has been printing money more than the United States. That's not looking good for them. Economies around the world are not looking good. And I think for the first time in a long time, the world is going to have to take a step back and go, what do we do about all this debt? I hear people talking about, there's going to be a reset. Somebody came out at me today and said, you don't know what you're talking about. Everything is fake money. When the banks decide that there's going to be a reset, the reset happens and that's it. And I was like, you were good until you said I didn't know what I was talking about. Block. It's okay to have different opinions, but yeah, nah. I'm not gonna dish you because you have a different opinion than I do, unless you're really just if I read it and I think you're just trying to start something. We don't have time for that. The stakes are too damn high to be playing games. Seriously, I'm not even joking right now. The stakes are too damn high. I know people that have really good jobs and they're looking at things and they're going, I don't know. Really good jobs. Meanwhile, they want you to rent everything. Lease your cars, debt. Get a mortgage, debt. How did a house that originally cost one price, like 5 figures, a few decades ago is now $1 million. Nobody can afford to pay for to like have a house built anymore, depending on where you are. That's insane. Oh, Bitcoin is below $100,000 right now. Remember a couple of weeks ago I had asked, do we think we're going to see 125 before we see 90? We're closer to that 90. You can almost write the script on how this will play out. It's interesting that people are saying that, DMAC. It's interesting. I mean, as you're writing the script, you start to realize, oh, I have to make adjustments because tariffs. Oh, I have to make adjustments because, the Caribbean. You're moving the Navy to the Caribbean. Why? You're threatening Nigeria. Why are you threatening Nigeria? Oh, because Nigeria is the opening to those 3 countries that France used to own or used to milk for money, and now they can't anymore, and that's why they're asking the United States to get involved, because then they figure they can get that back. Yeah, good luck with that. So we can all say we can write the script, but there are so many macro and micro events that affect things that you're going to say, okay, maybe I have to adjust this date. Maybe I have to adjust that date. Then you start to realize you're not really writing the script. You're seeing what's coming and you're making the adjustments as to what's coming. You're just smart enough to know how to make the adjustments. That's the way I look at it. That's honestly the way I look at it. Now, some things you can definitely predict, right? Some things you can definitely predict. Doesn't matter. This is going to happen. But when tariffs hit, that was like a bad idea. I think the tariffs were a mistake, and they couldn't let it go once they did it. Because think about where the economy would be right now. I don't know about you, but I had a different script. Before the tariffs, I had a completely different script. My bad news was not coming until 2026. That's where I was, 2026. Tariffs hit, and that rocked everybody's world. It's like, dude, what are you doing? You got handed a beautiful economy, and you're going to talk about tariffs. Oh, well, they wouldn't have come to the table if we didn't do the tariffs. You're joking, right? The global economy has been set on its ear, and I think tariffs were a way to not let us see the global economy and bring attention away from something and onto something else. Every time we turn around, it's something else that's taking over the headline. So DMAC, Hutanic, in that regard, I guess, you know what? You are right. Because something else is going to take over the headline, right? Something else is going to consume the air in the room. And then we have to do more calculations. That part, yeah, you can almost agree. You can almost write that script. But again, my bad news wasn't coming until 2026. So I don't know. They will revalue the gold, not reevaluate, but revalue the gold and drop the debt to GDP, go from 130% to 30%. Gold will sky with other assets. Problem is real estate, property taxes, insurance, healthcare, which is a part of insurance, will be unavoidable to reverse. I don't know. That makes sense. Don't get me wrong. That makes sense. But I don't know. 98,300 is a good level to lose, and the manipulation of markets has run the retail off. I don't know. And I'm honest with you. I'm fine with that for right now. I have a funny feeling that, institutions are moving so quickly that retail is going to wind up being dragged kicking and screaming compared to what institutions are doing. but all the rails are already being put in. Most of them are already there. But you need one more stage where people get paid and can pay bills using crypto. That's it. So all these companies investing in crypto have to turn around and say, whoever wants to be paid in crypto can be paid in crypto. That one. You know, DMAC, with regard to real estate self-correcting, I want you to stop and think about something. If real estate is going to self-correct, has it ever? Has it ever? And I'm going to say no. Because the price of a home they're ridiculous now. They are absolutely ridiculous. Now, here's something I want you guys to think about. You have cities like New York City. Hear me out. You have cities like New York City. No, they took a dip, but they were on the same trajectory. Do the math. They were on the same trajectory. I hear you, and I get you. Not a bad call. Yes, it crashed. And then they picked up right over again and skyrocketed. But you want to know who's paying the piper right now? You've got buildings that can almost be given away for free right now in New York City. You want to know why they're not being sold? Because it costs more to maintain the building than it does to actually do anything in the building. Rent stabilization. So you have buildings where owners have literally just walked away. Walked away because they can't do anything with the building. They're like, skip it, screw it, I'm done. And they walk away from the building. I don't know how they do it legally, but they're like, yeah, I'm done. I can't sell it. Maintaining it costs me more than dumping it. And I'm like, wow. Because you see them all the time. Oh, this got rent stabilization. Oh, that one's got rent stabilization. As soon as you say rent stabilization, you're done. And I think New York City has an overflow of real estate that's in that state, where rent stabilization has now moved that particular building beyond taking a profit. Owning that building is a loss. That's just going to keep going. You have different factors that are affecting real estate in different pockets of the country. Florida, it's going to be, real estate prices and insurance. People are like, oh, the houses are down. The houses are down. Yeah, they are. They're down. Yes. Now try to go get insurance. Good luck. Good luck. And flood insurance? Yeah, no. So I think that there are different factors around the country that are specific to that region with regard to real estate. So real estate as an aggregate is going to implode. But will it implode to a point where the home prices truly get reset? And here's the other one. Do the taxes on those homes get reset? Because to me, they never do. They never do. Taxes just keep going up and up. They only know one way to go. During that crash, taxman was like, I don't care, give my money. Maybe you got a little bit off. Because that was the year that I bought this house, and I was gonna fight my taxes and everything, see if I can get them brought down. And I got a letter that they dropped the amount of taxes. It was a nominal number, and what it told me was, can't fight because they're not going to hear it. We just lowered your taxes, and now my taxes are sky high. Sky high. Oh, well, the house is worth this amount of money, so you got to pay taxes based on that amount of money. Huh? So I'm being taxed on unrealized gains. Yeah. Yeah, you're being taxed on unrealized gains. They will slowly tax your house unless you have crypto to counterbalance your portfolio. Yeah, I'm not going to say crypto. I'm going to say other assets. Just saying. I know a lot of people, they have enough money to own a house. You know what they do? They rent and they own real estate. That makes money for them because it's cheaper to rent and have real estate that earns money for you than it is to own a house. What goes into the house or condo or co-op or, living in a, what does that cost? What do you get? Is it worth it? Is it truly worth it? Oh, well, the building comes with a gym and it's got a pool. How often are you going to use it? Time is money. How often are you going to use it? Now, do that based on how much gyms cost on a monthly basis. And you're only going to use this gym. You're not going to find any reason to buy workout equipment for your home or go out there and do something. But we've got massive issues around real estate, around insurance, tariffs. We've got massive food problems. We have massive energy problems. Oh, I told you, make a list and keep track of that list. Everything, all the risks that can affect your bag. And all of the risks that we're seeing right now, those are realized risks. They're no longer risks, actually. They're issues now. They are issues. A risk is we moved our fleet to the Caribbean and we might go to war. We just threatened Nigeria, we might go to war. Those are risks. Insurance is an issue now because everybody's insurance is already going up. Almost wherever you live, your insurance is going up. Car insurance, home insurance, your insurance is already going up. Food prices have already gone up. Healthcare is going up right now for all of us. Ooh, yeah. Whether you're on the ACA or not, your healthcare is going up. You're going to wind up paying the same money for decreased benefits. Yep. Homeowners insurance. They will literally put it in the writing for you. Your price is going up for decreased benefits. Coming in? Nothing changed about your house. Nothing changed about where you live. Nothing like that. But they're literally saying to you, if you want the same level of homeowners insurance, this is what you have to do. You're going to wind up paying more. So there's a lot. There's a lot. House is a liability, not an asset. D-Mac, I hear what you're saying, but your primary residence, 99 times out of 100, I'd say 99 times out of 100, is a liability, not an asset. There are special cases where it's not, because nothing's 100%, nothing's really 0%. It's somewhere in between, right? You get into a car accident, it's rare that it's 100% somebody else's fault. So, yeah, there are those events where it's not like that. Nothing is 100, nothing's 0. So, D-Mac, in a way, you're correct. However, for the most part, your primary residence, if you own a home, is a liability, not an asset. What's an example of a case where it wouldn't be a liability? You caught the price of your home at a steep discount. And because you were able to get it at a discount, your taxes have to be, or could be adjusted, depends on where you are. But you might have to eat the taxes, but the value of the house, okay, you're in the black. Right? I've done that before. I bought a co-op once, and I bought a co-op a couple of times, but this particular co-op, we bought the co-op, and the person previous to us caught the co-op while it was foreclosed on. His friend worked at a bank, told him about the foreclosure. He was able to get it for 50 grand. He redid everything in the apartment. He was like, he lived there for a few years and he was ready to sell, and did not sell it at market rate. Sold because he wanted to sell fast. He sold it well below market rate. I was able to get in. I bought it sight unseen. Family moved in. That was a great opportunity, and we were in the black almost instantly. Actually, no, we were in the black instantly, because the value of the property was way higher than what we paid for it. That's an example of, okay, that's it. That's what the rich dad, poor dad say. I'm going to disagree with that in some cases. Nothing is 100, nothing is 0. And Robert Kiyosaki owns over $1 billion. I think his debt is at $1.2 billion. He's now wealthy enough where he can play the debt game. I live on reality. I live in my reality. I can't afford to play the debt game. So my primary home is, well, now it's an asset. Now it's an asset. But for most of the time it was a liability. And it's still technically a liability. I've got to pay taxes every year. I have to have this fixed, that fixed, that fixed, this fixed. All of that adds up, and you've got to see, is it still an asset? Every year it's another calculation. And you should track what you're spending on your house, so that when you go to what you're spending and how much you can sell it for. There's that. Property tax and interest should be a deduction on federal returns with the standard deduction. I think there's more math that goes into it because you didn't calculate how much they want to dig into your pocket, sir. So please go redo your math. But yeah, I purchased my house on the short sale in 2009. Instant. Yeah. Like I said, there are special cases where you might be able to pick up your primary residence, in that special case where you're instantly in the asset class. But then you also have to, like I said, you still have to track the improvements that you've made to your house, all that stuff, to see how much money you've put in total, what your operational costs are for the house going forward, and track to see if and did the value of the house go up according to how much money you're putting into it. You've got to track that. So yeah, some people have it, some people don't. Know what I mean? So when I look at crypto, I'm looking at crypto as here's one asset class. Here are my stocks, bonds, options. That's another asset class. Here's my real estate. It's another asset class. Here are my businesses, another asset class. And I've got to make sure that they're all freaking assets. And the second I think that something's not going to be an asset, I need to dump it before it becomes a liability. See what I mean? So there's a lot that goes into it. So what do? I do my own research. I know my entries and exits, and I absolutely invest deliberately. If I'm buying an investment property, if I'm not immediately in the black, that's a deal that doesn't get done. I was looking at a deli, or my son is looking at a deli, and we need to see more numbers because I'm not seeing how he would be in the black. He's been in the retail game for a long time. Already has 5 stores. A deli is not that far away from what he's doing now. So he was like, Dad, I don't see how this business survives. Is he just in business just to give these people jobs? That would be honorable, but I'm here to make money. And I was like, oh, my son is deadly. Good boy. Good boy. So yeah, at a 3% mortgage, I am their worst nightmare. Dude, you and I are in the same boat. I refied and got a great rate. So they don't want to talk to me either. Would you like it? They don't even send me mail. Would you like them? They know. All the banks know. Don't bother them. They're not doing anything. Nope. But like I said, if I have an asset, I'm tracking whether or not that asset is headed to maintain its asset listing or if it's trending toward becoming a liability. And I will dump it in a heartbeat, let somebody else turn it back into an asset. That won't be me. Absolutely will not be me. Nope. I'm not taking chances like that. Not taking chances like that. Why do you think I'm into technology? You want to know the best thing about technology? It's right here. The tech is easy. Knowing how to do things with tech is another thing. I told you about that guy who came at me about AI. He was like, oh, how could you possibly compete with all these open source companies out there making billions of dollars and spending billions on data centers? Your system will never keep up. And in my head, I said to myself, this person doesn't get it. They're missing it. They're absolutely missing it. Because what it is I said that if I've got AI running on my laptop, I don't have to pay for them. And first of all, those aren't open source companies. Let's get that straight. You missed it. They're not open source companies. Okay, that's one. Two, running it locally, you're not spending that kind of money. You're spending $200 for this, $20 for that, $50 for this. You're not doing that. You're running it locally. So you just saved a whole bunch of money for your business. That's kind of a big deal. Kind of a big deal. So I look at that and I just kind of go, yeah, you people aren't paying attention. Why do you keep saying that? That's weird. So let's see. Sound like my last wife. She became a liability, not an asset. You're funny. Pay off my house or 10x that money in blockchain. Stupid, because I don't think people are going to 10x. That might be your situation, but that's not everybody's situation. Most people don't know what they're going to be able to do. We're falling like a hot rock. Hey, Max, have you invested in yourself? But yeah, you have to look at things from an asset and liability perspective. You have to look at things from an asset liability perspective. It's a big deal. And most people are not paying attention to that opportunity. They're not paying attention. A lot of people are not doing their own research. They wake up, they see a headline, they run with the headline without actually reading the article. That's not doing research. That's setting yourself up for failure. It's sort of like I said, I have dry powder sitting on the side. I'm not going to touch it. It's going to stay right there. It's going to stay its behind right there. That's it. That's it. Why? Because I might need it. Look at the economy right now. Oh, the S&P is slated to take a hit this month before it rises from the ashes, as per Fundstrat. So, okay, I'm going to relax a little bit. And when I see it fall, okay, then I'll get in. Because then it's supposed to take off again. Okay, cool, I'll get in. Why is that? Well, because I kind of want to spread my risk for all these assets I want to have. I don't put everything in crypto. I don't put everything in stocks. I don't put everything in my businesses. I don't put everything in real estate. You know what I mean? I'm not putting everything in everything. I'm not expecting to make the same money from different things. Some investments are long-term. Some investments are mid-term. Some investments are more volatile than that. Muck around while the dip is in. Go get involved with the ETFs when they come out. Collect on that staking while taking advantage of those ETFs as they go up. Ta freaking da. That could be the one. I would have to understand. I also have to understand, well, how is your staking going to work? Is it staking on based on the dollar value? Is it staking based on like just how are they basing that, and from what point they're basing that? Make money from there. And is it, a moving number? Could be a good place to park some money. And how long does it take for me to get in, get out? Could be a good place to park some value. Depending on how it's set up, could wind up being a good place to park some value. Ta-da! So yeah, there's a lot going on. There's a ton of things going on that we have to pay attention to. And most people, they're not doing what we're doing. They're not staying in the news. Let me give you some more news. Solana Treasury firm Forward Industries, NASDAQ, FORD, announced a $1 billion share repurchase program and filed a resale prospectus with the SEC until September 30th, 2027. So they're doing the long game on that because they want to show that they've got faith in Solana. Okay, cool. Crypto.com and Hollywood.com, what are they doing? Their own prediction network, their own prediction platform. That's going to be interesting. I still don't want to touch anything that Crypto.com is mucking around with because I don't know that they're capable of making good decisions. That's a lot of gambling. Just saying. Right? Ripple rebranded. It's rebranded. What is it? Hidden something or other to now it's Prime Brokerage. So that's going to be a good thing for them. They're acquiring, it was Hidden Road, my bad. And they acquired Hidden Road and G Treasury. Their ecosystem now is based on RLUSD, $1 billion plus stablecoin, by the way, and rising, because stablecoins don't go down. They keep going up, right? And XRP for institutional trading, custody, and payments to pursue, and they're also going to pursue an OCC bank charter and Fed integration. Ripple's making huge moves. Huge moves. But what they're saying is that we're focused on institutions, but we're not necessarily going to leave retail behind. But we're going to go for this level of retail, not that level of retail necessarily. So yeah, pay attention to that. There's a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff. Now, who was it from Oklahoma? That bully guy who thought he was going to fight in the Congress because he thinks he's the man. Somebody should just put them over their knee. He probably likes that freak. He was predicting that, over the weekend or something like that, or next week. He was predicting that, and then I'm like, he's like, there are a lot of conversations that are going on right now, and let me tell you something else. I think tonight's elections are gonna make some people move. I think tonight's elections are going to make some people move for sure. Right? So keep your nose in the news. Do your own research. Know your entries and exits and absolutely invest deliberately. I can't tell you enough how you must do that. That is a huge deal. Ripple has been setting up that chessboard. Wow. Have they been setting up the chessboard? I think the best thing that Ripple could have done, and I don't think anybody, maybe you and me, because we've been around this for a long time. I don't think I don't think many people are paying attention to this. When they got hit by the United States, when they got taken to court by the United States, all the U.S. banks said, "Oh, you get rid of that, and then you can come back and talk to us." But that was just the United States. That was just the United States. What happened outside the United States? Oh, well, they kept making money. They kept making money. They kept making improvements. They kept doing things. Why do you think they were able to pay for all that? What was it, $350,000 at the end of the day? Yeah. Why do you think they were able to pay for all of that? Attorney's fees and then the 125. On top of that, whatever, all the ancillary crap. Yeah, why do you think they were able to do that? Because they were making money. The United States thought that if they took them to court, they would get crushed, and they didn't. They started making about 90% of their money overseas. Yeah, Rick, I've been saying that for a while. If the government's not doing their jobs, they shouldn't get paid. They shouldn't get paid. But XRP, Ripple, has been laying the groundwork for a long time. For a long time. Garlinghouse and his team were just like, yep, we're going to do what we do. We're going to do what we do. We're going to do what we do. And they kept grinding. They kept grinding. That's what they did. No, it was 200 million plus the 125 or 150 on top of that as the fine, remember? 200 million was the legal expense plus that, plus whatever ancillary is in there. So that's a lot of money. You think they didn't have that money? They're laying the there were just some projects out there, some companies out there that have been doing their thing and just kept doing their thing. XRP, Kraken, Circle, Coinbase. And I went on a tirade this morning. If MasterCard gets their grubby little hands on Zero Hash, every single bank in this country should eat rocks. Because they had enough time to go buy something. I told them a long time ago to do that, didn't I? That's right. I'm wagging my finger at them because I told them a long time ago, go buy somebody. Go buy somebody now. Go do it now. Go do it now. They didn't listen. If MasterCard comes along and they get their hands on Zero Hash, MasterCard will be a crypto exchange like that. With it comes trust. So do you think a lot of people would move to the MasterCard, exchange, or at least open up an account there? You think? This ain't rocket science. That's going to happen. So I'm hoping for these banks. I hope they're all looking to buy somebody the way I said they should. Because if you want to get in the crypto game, if you're a bank, that's going to be the way to do it. It's easier from the other side. You're an exchange on the other side, or you're in the crypto business on the other side. You just keep making money. Ching, ching, cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. You just keep making money. It's easier for you to become a bank and get into that business than it is for the banks to get into your business. And they're all taking advantage. They're all taking advantage. Just saying. NASCAR Neil, what's good? Did you invest in yourself today? Thank you for letting me know. There you go. Apple Card users would be easy to onboard. That's no disrespect, but that's the jokey end of it, isn't it? Have a MasterCard already on. You already have an account. All you have to do is use it. Half the debit cards in the United States are what? MasterCard or Visa. I'm serious. So when you look at this particular thing, you're looking at a massive move. There are companies out there that are just making moves, making things happen, and banks seem to be like la 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 la. What? What are you doing? What are you doing? You could have afforded to have bought that yourself. Bought something else yourself, and you didn't. What? A crypto exchange bought a stock trading platform. You didn't see that coming? So far, that's a huge move. Just saying. That's a huge move by Kraken. Huge. Huge. Like I said, there are companies out there that have been making moves and people aren't paying attention. Yes, it hits the news, but people aren't really paying attention. They're not really paying attention. And you sit there and you're kind of like, what? The wake-up call hasn't hit yet. D-Mac, you're right. In a little while, that wake-up call is going to happen. So when you hear that banks are having problems, do you hear about crypto exchanges having that many problems? Not the strong ones. Nope. So what's a bank? Don't I ask that all the time? Haven't I been asking that for years? What's a bank? What does a bank do for me? That's why I said the last leg is going to be people being paid in crypto and being able to pay their bills in crypto. Because if I can pay my bills in crypto, screw a bank. That's the only reason why you use a bank, really, is so that you can pay your bills. Oh, pull this from my bank account, send money from my bank account. Used to be write checks, right? You don't write checks anymore. It's all bits and bytes now. Just saying. So we're paying banking fees. Why? Because your in-house systems are that old. Why is that my fault? Because a lot of these banks took the time to buy smaller banks that were more nimble, and what they do, they shelved them. They just wanted them out of the way. Most banks didn't change a thing. They just got rid of the competition. Anyway, everybody, this is Eddie J on Crypto for GrowMyBag.tv. Hope you like what I'm doing. If you do me a favor, smash the likes, tell your friends about us. And if you can, don't just subscribe, become a member. Membership has its benefits. Massive benefits. I don't know, like this coming Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're going to have the Big Baggers meeting. And it's a private video conference call between all the big baggers where we talk about what? All things investment. It's a much more intimate setting. D-Mac, if I don't see you on Sunday, I'm going to fly to where you are, and it's going to be on. It's going to be on. Just saying. Anyway, everybody, as always, thank you for your time. Thank you for your patience. And absolutely, thank you for your trust. Have a great night, everybody. Bye-bye.